Once you know the moon phases, you start to see them everywhere. Hey! Ooh, waxing crescent.
Imagine you're in a spaceship, looking down on the Earth as the moon orbits around it. As we look down on the top of the Earth and the moon during the moon's 1-month orbit, I noticed something. The moon's appearance never changes. The side facing the sun is always lit up. So if the moon's appearance from space never changes, why do we see it in different phases here on Earth?
A common explanation people give for moon phases is that it has something to do with the Earth's shadow. So let's go take a look at a model and see if that's even possible.
On the model, you can see the sunlight coming from this direction. And in all of these positions over the month, there's only one time the Earth's shadow could fall on the moon, here. But that usually doesn't happen because of the tilt of the moon's orbit, seen here exaggerated because of the constraints on my model. This is more realistic, where the shadows go over or under one another. You see, no shadow on the moon.
So why do we have moon phases? It's simple. Half of the moon is always illuminated by the sun. The phase that we see from here on Earth depends on how much of that lit up side we can see as the moon orbits around the Earth.
For example, when the moon is in this part of its orbit, we see the half of the moon facing the Earth, which in this case is the dark half, and we call this the new moon phase. At this position, the half facing us is mostly dark, but with a sliver of light on the left side. We call this a waning crescent phase. Here, the half facing us is dark on the left side and white on the right side. And remember, that's from the perspective of a person on Earth. This moon phase is called the first quarter.
Now, do we have to know moon phases for happy, successful lives? No, but I do think it's a good exercise in seeing things from a different perspective in order to understand what's going on. So now let's briefly check out how do we come up with these names for the moon phases. I have no idea where these moon phase names came from. This croissant is really good. But here are 4 words that you should know to describe the moon phases. Crescent means less than half full. In gibbous, well, that means more than half full. Waxing means getting bigger. I always think of Daniel and the Karate Kid, wax on. And waning means getting smaller. That's a great vocab word. You see it in literature all the time. And to remember if a moon is waxing or waning, there's a little rhyme. If it's wide on right, it's growing day and night. And then if the moon is half lit up, those are the quarter moons, first quarter and third quarter. And not because it's a quarter lit up, it's because it's a quarter and 3/4 of the way through its month-long cycle.
The moon phases are a very predictable cycle. Starting off at the new moon phase, where all you can see is the dark side of the moon, you start to see light on the right side, and you get to waxing crescent. It grows to the first quarter moon, and then to waxing gibbous, and then to the full moon. Then it goes the other way, where you start to get the waning gibbous, the third quarter moon waning crescent, and back to the beginning, the new moon.
What does any of this have to do with lunar eclipses?
Once a month, the sun, earth, and moon are all in a line, and we can see from the earth just the lit up side of the moon. We call this the full moon. When the earth, moon, and sun line up during a full moon, sometimes the moon's orbit is tilted so that the moon does go through the shadow of the earth. This we call a lunar eclipse. Now check out this time lapse of a lunar eclipse. About 3 hours usually, but sped up into just a few seconds here. You see the Earth's shadow? 2,500 years ago, ancient Greeks wrote their suspicions that the Earth was a sphere based on this very site. And if you're wondering why the moon gets reddish during the eclipse, that's because some of the sun's light bends its way through the Earth's atmosphere and is kind of projected onto the moon in a sunset-y sort of way.
Lunar eclipses seem like they happen more commonly than total solar eclipses, but they both happen about 2 times a year. It's just that for a lunar eclipse, you only have to be on the night side of Earth to see. In solar eclipses, it's a different story. And there you have it, moon phases, how they're named, and lunar eclipses. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment, like, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks.